Hello again. Time to grow that Sarco brain of yours. Okay, so it's gonna be a Sarco combat guide for today. By the way, I'm on the Gondwa public test branch for a specific reason. And that's because water drifting is back on here. And more on that later. Oh, I'm gonna show you this first. Listen closely. It's muffled. They're testing out the underwater changes on this branch right now. Here's above water. You can still hear it, but it's much quieter now. That's pretty neat. Let's start with the controls. If you're on PC, you're gonna wanna know this. Go on to settings, controls, and then there we go. Precise movement. I set mine to the V key because this is where my thumb naturally sits. I don't recommend the X key, which is the default, because it's a weird place to have it. I'm not sure how it is for other devices, but yeah, find somewhere where your thumb naturally sits. Gonna be a lifesaver for you. And then go on to gameplay and ability charging. You want to use double tap instead of hold and release. This is not ideal for wind-up abilities. Alright, so water drifting. Water drifting is basically just using the precise movement key to turn sharper in the water, just like this. On the public test branch, I think it's much easier to pull off since the turns are much faster, it seems. So this is just me doing forward key and the precise turn. I like to hold the left and right movement key as well, just to make sure I don't turn in the wrong direction, because sometimes this happens. See, it kind of turns the other way midway, and that's because the turn follows your camera. Alright, so now that's basically just water drifting. It's different from just turning in place in the water like this, because you're stationary. And if you do this while something's behind you, you're just gonna end up face tanking each other, which is not ideal. What instead you want to do is use the water drift to maybe get below them and then try and rise and then get behind them. That's what I do most of the time. Alright, since it's not on the main branch yet, the water drifting, you might wanna just use this. You angle your body away from the bite of if someone's behind you. So that way you're not just gonna be a easy target. Also, here is why I prefer ripping bite on Sarco. If you're fighting other Sarcos, they cannot heal bleed in the water. That is one of Sarco's main weakness in the water. It has to go to land. And that's where Ripping Bite comes in. Since Sarco's Ripping Bite right now is one of the most oppressive bleed attack in game, if you stack a couple of these on another Sarco, you're gonna be forcing them to swim onto land. And that's why I'll always use Ripping Bite. Water Spinos. What is Water Spino? Water Spino is streamlined paddle and maybe speed build. It is faster than a Sarco, even a speed Sarco, unless you're running thin scales, which I do not recommend, by the way. Hello. No. So how does a Sarco stand a chance against something that's faster than it, something that deals more damage than it? Well, agility. Sarco is more agile in the water even against a water Spino. The up and down movement for water Spino is not great because every time it does that, it kind of slows down a bit and then moves, slows down a bit and then moves. And that's one of the weaknesses of water Spino, or Spino in general. It's not very agile in the water. It can move fast in a straight line, but in terms of turning, don't like this turning at all. Yeah, it's not that great. Plus, it has a very big hitbox. You could hit the sail, you could hit the legs, even the tip of the tail. Yeah, so it's a big target. So, if a water Spino is on you, best to take the fight to shallower water because water Spino excels in open water. That way the Spino is in a cramped area and can't really utilize that speed. For Sarco, default bite is not good against water Spinos. Since default bite requires you to be always on top of your target, trying to chase it with the default bite, which is not gonna work out for you, buddy. So I recommend running crushing bite instead. You can use the crushing bite to just wait for it to come to you, maybe dodge out of the way of the claws and then land a bite. You can even take the fight on land because water Spino has no tail attack. If you manage to get the water Spino into maybe half HP, then you can fight on land. So crushing bite would be ideal because it's gonna be forced to trade hits with you. And here's a clip of a crushing bite damage on my water Spino.
That's a lot of damage.
Okay, so for land combat, here's the turn in place for Sarco. If you notice, if you do this, that Sarco kinda turns fast but only up to a point, which is when it's reaching for its sides. But past that, when you try to turn fully, it kinda slows down. This is where a lot of Sarco players make mistake. They're trying to just turn in place and try and get something behind them like a raptor or a 2-slot carnivore. Yeah, you don't do this. Instead, you can use the precise movement and the left or right movement key to move your body out of the way instead. Just like this. That way you're swinging your backside around while your head is turning to face whatever is behind you. That way I move out of their way, but I also manage to land a bite on them. Alright, tips for lunging. Sarco can lunge for about 2.5 Sarco lengths from the waterline.
Hey, that's pretty good.
You don't want to lunge too close to the waterline because this happens. See? Kinda worms onto land and you don't really get that momentum boost. So instead you wanna lunge about 1.5 to 2 Sarco lengths away from the waterline, like about this far. If you're gonna be pairing this with a crushing bite, you need deep enough water so that your mouth doesn't clip the surface of the water. That's very important. If you end up ambushing like this, and your mouth clips the surface of the water, they're gonna know exactly where to avoid you. You also wanna hold down the sprint key while you're lunging to maximize the momentum boost that you get. That's basically it. Hold down the sprint key, make sure you're in deep enough water, lunge about 1.5 to 2 Sarco lengths away from the water line, and yeah. Oh, by the way, the crushing bite takes 9 seconds to complete. At that point where it stops opening up wide, that's the 5-second point. So you have 4 seconds to decide when to lunge out. Usually I wait about 2 to 3, but yeah, depending on how far the target is. Also make sure that there are no rocks in the way because that will kill your momentum and you're gonna end up running on land instead of lunging onto land, which is, not gonna lie, a bit embarrassing when that happens. You don't want to use lunge in a fight with water Spinos or even other Sarcos. The only time I recommend using lunge in a fight is when you're trying to secure the kill. Let's say it's nearly dead, never use it mid-fight because it's gonna kill your stamina. Oh, you've just wasted a lot of stamina, mate. And he's out of stamina.
I didn't hear no bell.
Alright, so that's the general combat tips for Sarco. Let me know if you have any more questions. You can comment down below and I can try and answer them. Hopefully your Sarco brain is a bit larger now. And yeah, see you in the next video. Ooh, by the way, new microphone. Can you feel the upgrades yet? Well, you should.